Good night and welcome to Benalmádena's first English news broadcast. Digital Costa del Sol brings you every Friday all the information about this week's news. On Monday, kids under 14 years old were allowed to go out again, and City Council recalled the condition that must prevail in the displacements after seeing some parents not complying with the recommendations.
Since last Sunday, April 26, the government authorized minors to go out in the company of adults during the state of alarm caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. After more than 1 month of lockdown, there were many voices that demanded that the children should go out to skater. Not only the parents asked for it, but also many professionals in pedagogy and psychology spoke on the idea that the little ones need to spread out. The government ruled on it last week, not without certain complications. However, these displacements of the child population must comply with very specific orders, and for this reason, on Saturday, April 25th, specific information was issued from the mayor's office. It is stated that the children under 14 years of age and a responsible adult are empowered to circulate through public use spaces from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Municipal parks, which will remain closed, are excluded from this authorization. Outdoor recreational children's spaces, as well as sport facilities, including biohealthy activity spaces distributed by the municipality, are also excluded from use. On the site, following the government guidelines, it is stated that you can walk up to a maximum distance of 1 kilometer from the minor's residence, including the natural space of our beaches. Security Councilman Javier Marín spoke on the first day of this measure in Benalmádena.
Hoy queremos hacer balance de lo que fue el día de ayer.
I want to highlight that the great majority of our population complied with the indications given, but the local police noticed some people are not complying with the established standards. I want to remember that the rules are very simple: a single adult with up to 3 children. Please don't go marriages together. Don't go farther away from the family address more than 1 kilometer and do not stay on the street more than 1 hour. This walk can be made once a day. I want to thank the population for complying with these rules, and those who are not doing so, I would like to warn them that the police will proceed to fine anyone not complying with this.
The vast majority of the population fully complied with the instructions given by the government for these works, but local police officers did detect some people who did not comply with the established standards, raising up to 35 administrative acts for different breaches. The rules are clear and simple: a single adult in the company of up to 3 children, not leaving the family home for more than a kilometer, a single walk a day, and not staying on the streets for more than an hour. The councilman asked the citizens for their firm and responsible compliance with these rules.
The agreement between NGOs and organizations of the third sector sponsored by the City Council of Benalmádena continues to grow and now joins Mascom, one of the largest companies in the province food sector.
The local assembly of Benalmádena's Red Cross Association signed a collaboration agreement with the supermarket chain Mascom to coordinate the economic donations for the acquisition of food and other basic necessities and their subsequent distribution between individuals and families in risk of social exclusion on the municipality. The agreement was created to cover the demand for aid in Benalmádena by the most disadvantaged social sectors during the health crisis caused by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Cerramos un acuerdo con Cruz Roja y con Asís.
We closed an agreement with the Red Cross and Asís in which, as City Council, we provide them with logistical and financial means to carry out their work, all in coordination with social services as recommended by the Ministry of Health. And now, from this agreement, a new one has been born that has the same vocation and spirit of help towards others.
Que tiene la misma vocación y espíritu de ayuda hacia los demás.
Benalmádena's mayor Victor Navas, who showed pride on the spirit of solidarity of the Benalmádena's citizens and their social action groups, highlight the generosity and involvement of the supermarket chain. The president of Red Cross Local Assembly, Paqui López, has emphasized that the Spanish Red Cross will always be available for the people of Benalmádena to help in everything possible during the health emergency situation such as the one that we live. Sources from the supermarket chain declared as a company born in Malaga, they had to show support in these difficult times to help those who need it most. The agreement contemplates the creation by Mascom SL of a bank account in which natural or legal person, identified or anonymously, can make their cash donations to purchase food and basic hygiene products. Under the signed agreement, once the anonymous donation have been received, the sum of amounts will be made available to the Benalmádena Red Cross. Subsequently, the food and products purchased will be made available to the social services of the City Council to distribute among vulnerable families and those at risk of social exclusion, following the technical criteria and assessment imposed by the social services workers. It will be them who determine the degree of need of each family nucleus to prioritize the most urgent cases, and that the distribution can be carried out in coordinated and efficient way, guaranteeing that aid will reach those who need it most first. The Benalmádena's civil protection volunteers will be in charge of home delivery. The labor of this group during the state of alarm is proving essential, playing a fundamental role in serving the most disadvantaged citizens. This collaboration agreement between the Red Cross and Mascom will remain in force for as long as the situation of social need derived from the pandemic by COVID-19 continues.
Benalmádena's Marina approves fiscal relief measures such as the flexibilization of fees or the exemption of certain payments to their users to fight the consequence of the sanitary crisis.
During the last meeting of Benalmádena's Marina Directors Board, a series of fiscal relief measures were approved to mitigate the negative effects on the economy of the health crisis of COVID-19. Measures that will affect berthing users and businessmen who carry out their activity in the port area.
Desde el puerto deportivo de Benalmádena hemos aprobado.
At Benalmádena's Marina, we have approved a series of exceptional fiscal measures as a consequence of the COVID-19 crisis in order to alleviate the negative effects that the crisis will produce on our economy. We want to make the payments more flexible and also reduce them to help users and also protect those who carry out commercial activities in the port, so that once the state of alarm ends, they can return to normality as soon as possible. These measures will provoke a reduction on the income foreseen by the municipal company, so the necessary adjustments are being made to bear with the damages. We have listened to requests from ACEP as from our users, and this is without a doubt one of the most extensive packages of measures that any port has taken.
The measures were approved during the Administrative Council with the votes in favor of the government team and the abstention of the opposition. The measures include flexibility in the payment of mooring fees with a moratorium of up to 3 months, maintaining the respective stipulated discounts. Also, all users of base boats and concessionaires exempt from paying electricity and water during this period, as well as rented premises from the payment of their quotas and flexibility in the payment of other receipts, with a 3-month moratorium. The terraces are also exempt from the payment for surface occupation and the payment of part of the fee for commercial activity, making the payment of the rest of the receipts with a moratorium of 3 months more flexible. In addition, the rate for commercial activity of vessels operating in the outer dock will be reduced by 50%. These are measures that seek to support users and businessmen and which will mean a reduction in the income expected by the company, which is why the port is already preparing the necessary adjustments to solve this difficult economic situation. Benalmádena's Mayor Victor Nava stressed that this is the most extensive and beneficial package of measures for users and clients that any port or port administration has taken since the beginning of the COVID-19 health crisis. For its preparation, the different requests made by both the ACEP and directly by various users of moorings and premises have been taken into account. The Association of Sports and Tourist Marinas requests that the Andalusian marinas be among the first facilities to recover their full activity when the desescalation begins. This provides that in the coming weeks, the number of COVID-19 infections is reduced and always applying strict compliance with the rules and safety measures of social distancing and protection dictated by the health authorities. From the association, they propose the formula Car Boat Car, where users can access the port area with their vehicle, go to the boat and live in their car again without any contact with anyone.
The Volunteers from Home network is already operational, collaborating with social organizations and offering support to the most vulnerable people during the state of alarm. The initiative was promoted by City Council's Citizen Participation Area.
The Volunteers from Home network is already operational, carrying out multiple volunteer work for the most vulnerable and needed people during the COVID-19 pandemic. This network has been promoted by the Department of Citizen Participation of the City Council with the collaboration of the social welfare to channel the will of the citizens of the town to help their neighbors in a situation of greater vulnerability. The volunteer network is already actively working with social organizations in the municipality, such as the Association of Relatives and People with Mental Illness of the Costa del Sol or Benalmádena's volunteer aggregation. Care for the elderly is a fundamental line of action for the network of volunteers who make from phone calls to combat the loneliness that some suffer to the purchase of essential products for those who are close to their geographical scope. Doctors and psychologists offer the professional support to AFESOL. They also have economists who help older people to file their income tax returns, computer technicians who offer their support in new technologies, and other psychologists specialized in given situations who assist people by telephone when they have lost close relatives or have them in the intensive care unit. Foreign residents have also joined the volunteer network, carrying out tasks such as translating emails or administrative communications, or making calls to people in need who do not speak Spanish. Already made up of about 290 citizens, the Solidarity Network Volunteers from Home already covers the demand for help from home that we can channel from the municipal level, said the Councillor for Citizen Participation, Elena Galán. At a later time, when the state of alarm is lifted and citizens can go back to the streets, it will require a greater number of people to offer a broader and more dynamic range of volunteer work. Once they manage to have such a large and significant number of volunteers from home, classified by criteria such as professional skills, availability and geographic location, the email enable will continue to operate to channel all the information to make donations to the various organizations that deal with getting food to those most in need. On the other hand, they remember that people who need urgent help or are suffering from a lack of resources and to purchase food and other basic necessities should contact the local social services.
After more than a month of lockdown, the pandemic begins to stabilize, and the administration is preparing different models and scenarios for the reopening process.
The President of Junta de Andalucía, Juanma Moreno, has assured that Andalucía is prepared to face the reopening process established by the central government, whether it is by provinces, health districts, and municipalities. After the 7 Presidents' Conference held this Sunday, Moreno announced that the autonomous government is finalizing a reopening plan by the hand of a technical commission, a document requested by the Spanish government. He has also announced that Andalucía will have a security plus in the requirements established to authorize confinement so that the risk against the virus is as low as possible. Moreno recalled that Andalucía is trying to meet the requirements raised by the National Health Authority. We have had a potential contagion rate below 1 for 2 weeks, being the third community with the lowest incidence of cases per 100,000 inhabitants, and the availability of beds in the intensive care units is enough. In addition, Andalucía has 275 municipalities that have not present cases for the COVID-19, which means 35% of the Andalusian towns. If the reopening begins by provinces, Huelva and Almería are below the average incidence in Andalucía, and therefore both are candidates to be considered among the first Spanish territories to finish the lockdown. The plan to lift the measures announced by Moreno contemplates the opening of hairdressers and personal beauty establishments and commerce in general since May 11th. Funerals without wakes from May 18, and the opening of bars and restaurants from May 25. On the other hand, he has transmitted to Sánchez that this progressive reopening includes two essential areas to reactivate the Andalusian economy. On the one hand, that the government of Spain implements a national tourism rescue plan with measures that help sustain an industry that is strategic for Andalucía, and that the country's brand be promoted as a safe destination against the coronavirus. Secondly, it has proposed a plan for the progressive reopening of trade, with planning by zones and by categories of establishments, and which includes specific protection measures so that they can regain attention to the public with full guarantees. It has also insisted that there is still an urgent need to test as many people as possible. In this line, he recalled that in Andalucía, tests have already been carried out on all the elderly and nursing homes and the professionals who care for them. They are also in the process of carrying out 100,000 tests on health professionals and other workers in hospital centers. Therefore, Moreno has asked Sánchez for a PCR robot to speed up the number of tests carried out and their guarantees.
And these are today's headlines. Kids go out again after a month of confinement. New collaboration agreement between Red Cross and Mascom. Benalmádena Marina approved new fiscal relief measures. Solidarity and support with the Volunteer from Home network. Moreno claims that Andalucía is ready to end the lockdown. The weather forecast for the weekend will leave us with skies are slightly cloudy or clear, with intervals of high clouds starting on the afternoon. Rising temperatures, west component winds weak on the inside. And that's all. Thank you for watching us, and remember, you can stay updated on our website or social media profiles on Facebook and Twitter. Have a good night, enjoy the weekend, and remember, stay at home.